Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Deja Vu. Welcome to another edition of Logged In Live with WBLS. Having a good time. We're finally coming out of this whole quarantine thing. So a lot of folks are out and about. Y'all moving around. I'm still in my quarantine studios. But you know what? I've been at the studios. I've had dope people hanging out with me. And today is no different. We got this guy straight out of New Orleans. He's a Grammy winner, songwriter, producer, show host now. Let's put your hands together for PJ Morton. Woo! Hey, PJ.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel good. I feel good. It sounds weird to hear show host now that I've
Listen,
added.
you gotta do your thing because if you don't, I'm gonna steal that whole idea. Thank you.
No, it's been fun. It's been a good time. I'm happy to add that to the list.
That's really cool. That's really cool. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I'll get into it a little bit later about what PJ's doing with his new show. But first, let's talk about your music and what's been happening with you since we've been under quarantine. And where are you quarantining right now?
I'm in New Orleans. New
Mhm.
Orleans is home, and I since the quarantine, I had to move all my studio stuff into the house, so I didn't have to leave. I can just sit here and create and work. But I was on tour actually with my band at that time. We did a solo tour in Europe, and then I went to
Mhm.
South America with Maroon Five, and we were there, and it all started to happen so fast. We had to rush back from Argentina, and
Wow.
so we didn't get so we wouldn't get stuck over there.
Yeah, because they were
And
shutting down everything.
yeah, everything, and it was getting shut down in real time. Like we had Argentina and Colombia left. And I remember they said, all right, Colombia's canceled, but we got Argentina tomorrow. And then that night they were like, nope, Argentina's canceled. We got to find
Damn.
flights and we got to get home. So it's been crazy, but I've been home. For me, musically, I had released a lot of music, 5 albums in 3 years,
Mhm.
and so I was planning on, locking back in to create, and so it kind of came at a weird time for me, but maybe a
Mhm.
necessary time for me. I needed to reset and spend time with my family. I've been on the road for about 3 years straight, with little breaks. So
Were
it's
you
been
able
all
to
right.
continue to produce your music and everything, clarity wise, with everything going on? Was it a time for you to be able to do it, or were you just kind of like shut down for a minute?
Yeah, initially, no, I fully shut down. I sat back to listen and tried to see what this all meant. I didn't
Right.
know I didn't know what the world was going to look like. Still don't exactly know.
Right.
But
Because this second wave, I'm hearing like, what,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, like
But so
200 Delta airline workers were positive. I
is
ain't
that
flying
right?
out there.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Yeah, I am sitting still. I'm here. But to answer your question, no, I had to shut down. I couldn't create initially. I just wanted to sit still and see what was happening.
Mhm.
And but then the juices started to flow a little bit, and so now I'm back and forth. But it's crazy because now patterns are just different. I don't. I'm a bit of a workaholic, but I've learned to take some time now and move at my own pace, and it's been good in that sense.
How's it been with the kids? Were you having to do any of the homeschooling? I know all my friends with kids have been like, "Oh my gosh, thank God for the teachers and
Oh
all
yes,
of that."
Lord. I said give the teachers $10 million, please. They deserve it all. I was a third grade teacher. Me and my wife, we split between my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old. So I was the third
Mm.
grade teacher, and I'm glad school is over. I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring the teachers back in next semester. But no, I did that. I was able to teach both of them how to ride bikes,
Oh,
and
that's
yeah,
good.
that was a special one for me because I remember clearly my father teaching me how to ride a bike, so I got to teach my daughter and my son how to ride bikes, and that part has been good because
Yeah.
I have to admit I was on that road a lot. I mean, I was hitting it hard, so
Mhm.
it was good to just stop for a second, get some time with them.
And sometimes that forced stopping, because we were all just like, hey, 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 hey.
Oh,
And
it's
then
just
you sit
moving.
here for
Yeah.
a minute and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, let me come up with some new ideas. But I'll say for me, it took me for a minute just to try and, up here in New York, people were just getting
Yeah.
the COVID stuff so quickly. And you're like, oh my God, what is happening? It was almost overwhelming for us
Absolutely.
up here.
I agree. Yeah. No. Same thing. I think in the beginning, New Orleans and New York were the two hotspots, really,
Yes.
where you are, where I am. So, you know, I didn't know what was happening. And I just
Right.
was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting right here. And it took me a minute to shake out of that and try to figure out, you know, what I was going to do next and what I wanted to do next, you know. And that's where some other, you know, new ideas came as well.
All right. Well, talk to us about what you've been creating musically. I saw that you just released something with Corey Ricks.
Yeah, Corey Ricks is a buddy of mine here in New Orleans, and you know that's been one of the positives of being still is you know, some of the features I couldn't get to before, some of the
Right.
production and writing I couldn't get to before. There's been more time now. It's getting busy, but there was a section where, you know, I've been able to hop on some things I haven't been able to do before. And Corey's a positive rapper here in New Orleans, and he had a message in the song, and it rang true with me. So I hopped on that. I'm also you know, just creating some music for myself. Maroon 5 is working on an album
For those of
virtually.
you guys who don't know, he is one of the keyboardists for Maroon 5. Those are totally different genres, PJ. How do you balance that? And or do you mesh them all together? How does that work as a creative?
Yeah, I always say I'm the king of genre lists. You know, I'm a preacher's kid who grew up writing gospel music,
right?
Decided to be an R&B singer and signed to Young Money, Lil Wayne's label, and in the band Maroon 5. So I'm all over the place. I just think there's good music and bad music, and you know, so wherever I am, I create in that moment and try to organically be who I am in those arenas. And so it because I was inspired and influenced by so much, from the Beatles to I'm a kid of the hip hop generation, to the gospel music that I grew up with. And to all the soul music that came before me, I was influenced by it all. So I'm able to,
especially being in New Orleans, you guys have a taste of everything.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're a bit of a melting pot, especially in music. And so I've always been open to it all, you know, and it's I didn't know that this would become my life, but all of that training and being influenced by all those things eventually came into play and helped me to, you know, be natural in all these different circles.
So what would you have been doing if you weren't doing music? You said this, you didn't know this would be your life.
Yeah, well, I you know, I wanted to be an attorney at one time.
Wow, that's a lot of schooling. That's a lot.
I like the debate. And then I thought I could be a psychologist at one time. But at Morehouse, I was a marketing major. I was already in music by that time, but I knew that marketing and packaging things and presenting things was always something that was special to me. But I've been able to use that in my career as well. So that's
dope. Okay, I didn't even know that. See, we're finding out new things. Now, I felt like with everything that's been happening with the Black Lives Matter movement and everybody just, you know, championing together, just talking about getting our rights and being able to be treated correctly. I saw you were a part of that marching to the Capitol recently.
That's right. Yeah, well, Louisiana State Capitol. We had a thing called Suit March 2020, and you know, a group of Black men marched from the old Louisiana State Capitol to the new one, and it was great. The mayor of Baton Rouge was there, the police chief was there, everybody on the same page, and I sang Sam Cooke's "Change Is Gonna Come," and
wow.
you know, I'm just trying to be, you know, as active as I can with the tools that I have in this movement, because I believe in it. I believe that things need to change, and if I can help to amplify a voice, give a voice to somebody who can't be as loud as me, I'm happy to do it. You know.
How do you and your wife talk to your kids about what's happening right now, or do they even know, or are you just kind of keeping them, you know?
They do. You know, the internet is loud, so right. We like to be proactive in that. I actually we have movie night. This is a new quarantine thing, but we got movie night now, and so they were like, "Oh, Dad," but this one I say, "Hey, we're gonna watch a serious movie." This because it's usually fun movies, you know. But I had the whole family watch 13th. Ava DuVernay's movie.
Wow, and they were able to understand and comprehend everything with that?
I think they were able to connect it, because when I watched the 13th myself, I I was surprised at how I didn't connect things of the past to where we are right now, and the rhetoric and the talking. So I'm sure that it maybe not, it wasn't fully, they didn't fully understand, but I think it's some seeds that they'll continue to grow up and be like, oh, that's that, you know, that's connected to this. So yeah, we talk about them and we let them know, you know, where we are in the world right now, and how it's supposed to be. I mean, we lived in California before New Orleans, so they understood diversity and being with other people, and understanding other cultures. But you know, I just like to make sure that they understand where we are in the world right now, and where they belong, you know.
Is your mind kind of blown about what's happening right now? I think my mind is just kind of like, wow, this is amazing. We're in the middle of this history. We're making history. We're in the middle of the revolution. It's just like, you know what I mean? Because we've seen stuff, and now people taking off brands. Aunt Jemima going away, Uncle Ben's, they're doing this, but we still have a lot more to go. But what do you think? What do you say right now to your contemporaries, and even just, you know, as you see us progressing, what do you think we need to be doing?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we are at like a world shifting moment right now.
Yes.
Like when we read in history hundreds of years ago, when centuries turned and things, you know, wars happen and revolutions happen, we're right here. It really takes talking, like I love talking to older people, you know, and the older people are like, listen, I've never seen it. They've been through slavery, they've been through Jim Crow, and they're like, this is brand new. This is something new with the pandemic, and then, you know, all the race relations and things changing. I think, you know, what I would say to my peers is, because people have been marching for 60 years, right? We continue to march and fight and be loud, but I think we understand now that for it to be systematically changed, we have to now not just talk and march, but also put forward real plans and have real, you know, real demands for people, so that they can change at the foundation of it, change at the bottom of this, so we can rebuild and restart. And it just feels different, though. It feels like something shifted. It
does. I mean, even in just a few years from when Kaepernick first took the knee, everybody was like, "Oh, this, and that," and now it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different vibe. Of course, we did have that one little situation that happened down where you were from. Yeah. So what do you think? What happened with that? And how did the city react? What was the energy?
Which part? So,
with Drew Brees and all that stuff that happened.
Drew. Oh, Drew. I love you, Drew. Why, Drew? You know, I think he was, you know, what's good about now is some people are showing who they are, you know, and it gives, you know, the bad thing about pre-Trump is now we know that racists and people with racist views and thoughts were hiding in the shadows, right? And we're not able to have conversations as long as people are hiding in the shadows. So for all the bad of it, I'm happy that people are out front saying that. And he was corrected by so many so quick.
So quickly, yes.
You know, and I think it's going to take probably some time for the city to forgive him, but it seems as if the players have already had some real hard, tough, direct conversations with him where he's changing his tune. I saw somebody put a picture of him in a fake, you know, kente cloth. He's singing a different tune, but, you know, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. I tweeted that immediately because we love Drew Brees in New Orleans.
Yes.
And, but I'm happy that he said that so he could be corrected and maybe get a new understanding of what he's saying, understanding that kneeling has nothing to do with the flag. And your grandfather who fought in World War II, when he came home from World War II, didn't have the same rights as the guy who was black standing next to him fighting them. So the thing that you love so much and the thing that you want to protect so much, the person next to you didn't have that same feeling about it. So we you know, we're not free until everybody is free. And I hope that's been explained to him and he gets it now.
And okay, so listening back over to your Paul album, which you dropped last summer, you were right along with what's happening right now. You know what I mean? the MAGA song, the Be a Kid, Love Like a Kid Again, and even the Buy Back the Block. That is my joint. And that whole movement is really, there's a hashtag. I don't know if you know, but I follow it. And it's all the people who are buying back the block. Can you talk about that and what was the inspiration?
Yeah, I love it. I've seen that, and unfortunately, I hate that those songs are still so relevant. You know, like MAGA, and Make America Great Again ? Because I'm saying when was it great? We're trying to get it great. Yeah. But Buy Back the Block. To be totally honest, I was inspired by Nipsey Hussle's death, and the way he empowered his community. And in his neighborhood had his store and the stores around it. And for me, I just felt like, man, I think the way to honor his death and honor his life is to continue that and put steroids on that. And let's understand that our power is in ownership, right? And wealth. And the way you gain wealth a lot of times is ownership in real estate. So I just was inspired by what his life represented. And I want to see it become a movement. And like you said, it has started to become a movement, and people buying back the block. I do follow that hashtag as well. And it's amazing to see.
Yeah.
It's empowering to see. And I just want to see it keep going. That's the theme song for it. We actually just shot a video for it. I partnered with Liberty Bank, one of the few. I think there's only like 30 Black-owned banks in the world. And,
you stole my idea. You stole. I'm going to suggest to you to partner with not the bank, but the real estate companies. And I was going to tell you I want 10% because I was.
When you trying to buy back the block too, you need your percentage. I understand. But we partnered with Liberty Bank, and we were able to give some money to some families and to some people in need right now. And we got to show it in the video. Just a start, just a small token. But the concept of it is what I want to keep going and growing.
That is amazing. Sure, it doesn't matter if it's a small token. Despise not the day of small beginnings. You're doing something, and you are inspiring people at the same time. Shouts out to Norman, who was checking in, and somebody else. I saw some of the comments over there, but they're loving you right now, PJ.
I appreciate it.
We love what you're doing with your music and your movement. And you said you've created some new stuff. What do you have coming up for us?
The newest thing that came from an unexpected place is the culture trivia show that I've started. I of course I would have thought being locked in, I was gonna be coming up with new music fully, but something out of nowhere. And I think for me, part of it was being burnt out from being on the road. I'm just being totally honest. Just hitting it, put your head down. You don't realize you're tired till you are just forced to stop. And then I realized, oh my God, like I need to chill. But at that time, a lot of people were doing live streams and going live. And right in the beginning, I was like, man, I don't feel inspired to do any of that right now.
Right.
And I saw Steph Curry doing some trivia with some NBA players. And I said, man, that would be dope as a music, from a music side. And we pitched the idea to Essence and did 3 like pre-episodes just to kind of see if it worked. And then I said, man, I want to keep this going and not only do music, but expand it and focus on the culture in general. Black culture, celebrate each other in music, sports, film, TV, and invite my friends in, talk to them about what they have going on. And it's just been like a natural, organic thing that's come together. And we got something special on our hands. And
it's fun because you know what? Listening to or watching a couple of the episodes, you find out stuff about different people. Like, I didn't know certain things about some of the artists that you were talking to, even yourself, because you're sharing stories at the same time.
Sure. I think that's become my favorite part about it is like, when I had Ro James and we're both preachers' kids and we start talking about that. I could have went into a whole interview about that because we were going deep. And it's just super cool to I think as an artist, interviewing an artist too, there's a unique perspective there. And then I feel like I literally learned something new about our culture every week. Like I get to read the answers. Thank God I don't have the pressure to answer all of it. My card might be in question on some of these weeks, but I'm learning something new every week just about our accomplishments and what people have done through the years. I don't think I even knew, like Forrest Whitaker. I didn't know that he directed Waiting to Exhale. I didn't know that. So little tidbits like that. It's just been fun, and doing it live and having live comments and people being with us, it just makes it even more of a fun experience.
That's dope. That's dope. Hey, are you going to turn the theme song into a full song?
I hadn't planned on it. Do you want 10% of that too?
You know what? I'm going to give you that one. That'll be my bonus for you.
Okay. All right. Because I see you pitching ideas, but you always got your percentage in the middle.
Listen, I'm on my hustle hard tip, man. I'm trying to come up. All right.
I like how you think. I hadn't thought about that. I just created that for it. But maybe
I kept singing it. I was like, yes, this is nice.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So musically, what are you doing? And are you performing any of those virtual concerts now? Or have you just stopped doing that?
I've done two of them. We did a full concert with my full band, which was fun. I think I just needed that. We are well, first I wanted to keep my band working, because that is livelihood. But at the same time, I think we needed that, like spiritually, we needed to be fed and do what we do. I think as much as the audience gives us when we're there, we are being fulfilled as well, playing this music. So I did one on my birthday in March, and I did one on Memorial Day. And I've been doing songs in here and there on different things. Essence Fest is coming up July 4th. I did a short set that's going to be on that, and a few things like that. But mostly just trying to create and still trying to hear what's next. I try my best to be honest in the moment. I think that's how songs like MAGA and Buy Back the Block came, because I wasn't just thinking about where we are right now, but what am I supposed to be saying? So I'm listening more than anything right now. Still trying to see like what I definitely want to make sure that in anything I am adding, like I'm adding to people and helping people, even if that's not a deep thing, because it's not always just about being deep. It's about entertainment, but whatever that is, I want to make sure that I'm saying what I'm supposed to say.
Well, it seems like you're hitting on all cylinders, sir. Now you said Essence Fest is coming up. Two things. That's where I first interviewed you last summer. My hair was different than everything, but you were so crazy back then, and I went and bought the music after that. But anyway,
that's in that little room.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember now.
I don't know what it was, but it was something we were talking about. Like, and you said, "Oh, I'm singing Negro spirituals now" or something. It was just hilarious. But at any rate, since you're doing all these shows, WBLS, the legendary New York station, has something called Circle of Sisters coming up in October, and it's going to be digital. So I'm just pitching that to you right now. Just you can put it on your little calendar, maybe as a maybe.
Yeah, I could definitely give you a maybe right now. What's your percentage on that? No, I'm just letting. I would love to come and hang with the Circle of Sisters.
Yes, well, I'm not asking for a percentage since you'll be performing, lending us your vocal capabilities. If you did it, we can work something out.
No doubt. I'd love to hang. It sounds like a good time.
That's good. Jeanette Moore says, "Happy Tuesday. I'm listening to the radio while home and tuning in to FB alerts. Loves the energy." Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you, Jeanette. We appreciate it.
PJ, what else is going on? I saw that I didn't know that you had written a book.
Yes, some years ago, a long time ago.
Like 2009. So you do it all. Are you an actor as well?
I listen. I am actually an actor. I don't know how to actually say that comfortably yet, but I just watched myself. I just did my first full acting role in a series called Soul City on a network called Topic. I actually scored. I came in to score and be the composer on the TV show, and they were like, this role would fit you, and I did it. It was kind of a serious role.
Wow.
I was like, I didn't cringe. I didn't cringe the other day when I was watching. I was like, okay, PJ. So I see a little bit of that in my future, you know, a little acting. And I'm a one-time author. I wrote a book, you know, being a preacher's kid, and dealing with not being a gospel artist, you know. I dealt with a lot with that, and I wrote a book called Why Can't I Sing About Love? And it's a very small book, but it was poignant. And you know, I'm now I look back and I'm happy. I got, you know, Miss Aretha Franklin gave me a quote for the book. Al Green gave me a quote for the book, and my father did the foreword for the book. And in that, he was talking about how, you know, he doesn't necessarily listen to Amazing Grace when he was courting my mother, and I think it kind of brought a lot of the walls down of saying, oh, that's secular music. But you live a secular life in the sense that, you know, if you are looking to be with somebody or marry somebody, there is a point in there. You don't just skip from, you know, we don't do arranged marriages in the US. So if that's the case, why not have somebody who is a believer write about love and write about relationships and write about life? So I'm happy now to see that a lot of those walls have been broken down.
Because I think Tamala Mann and her husband put out an R&B kind of gospel-y. They said it was for, you know, gospel, like love songs or whatever for their partners. You know what I mean? Christian music, that's R&B style.
Yeah.
But do you feel that kind of tug?
Yeah, I never, you know, because I started so young. I started that fight so early, so I didn't feel the pressure, and my father was fully supportive of me even back then. I started writing R&B songs when I was 15 and 16 years old, so I've been at it. And so I had to take some of the early bullets for that, but I was happy to do it because I knew that I was in purpose and not really just trying to rebel. And I think that's what empowered my parents. Once they realized, okay, he's not just trying to rebel. He just wants to talk about more than God, you know, and that's okay. God is bigger than just God. You know, he's the whole world. So, you know, I've been able to empower other people to follow their paths and be exactly who they are too. No pressure.
That's good, man. Listen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. How can we reach you on social media?
I am at PJ Morton, just about everywhere, at PJ Morton. I'm active in these streets, you know,
in these quarantine streets.
Yeah, in these quarantine social media streets. I'm out there, and
the culture comes on.
The culture comes on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/PJ Morton. And you can watch it live. It's a fun experience live. We're watching comments and commenting on that, as well as if you can't watch it live, then it's up on YouTube after that. And I hope you enjoy it. Catch up. We're coming up on episode 4, and so catch up if you haven't watched so far. And it's a good time, man. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying myself doing the show.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing. If you ever need anybody to do like a freestyle or a lyric or a song, I got you. Okay.
I need to get you on the. So I should do like some radio DJs come on and be contestants on the show. I want to let's test your knowledge.
Come on, I got you.
Let's see what you got, you know, without reading it off your cards.
Right.
No,
don't try to show me up, man. Don't try to show me up. But thank you for hanging out with us, PJ.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. Always.
Of course. Listen, this is another episode of Logged In Live. You've been hanging out with WBLS and me, Deja Vu, and of course, PJ Morton.
Yes. Thank you.